Welcome back to Crypto My God, episode 67. I'm climbing up there along with the Bitcoin price. Are we decoupling? Who knows? But man, that would be exciting. I mean, gold's going to the moon. Maybe we can too. Got some fun stuff, so let's get into it. Very quick side note before I get started. We now have Paul Atkins officially sworn in as US SEC chair. This is coming from Reuters. It's pretty broad news. It's something that I know I have covered on the bullishness of the SEC, but I just want to shout this out because Paul Atkins is pro-crypto. A lot of SEC motion has been mired by the fact that there was no chair in place. So he's officially sworn in. Let's fucking go. Now we begin to lay the foundations for real businesses. Today I'd like to go on a little journey. So following my Hyperliquid episodes, I got some reach out from CallumOnCrypto. I don't know this man, but he has a great list of things going on in the HyperEVM, which was actually something I wasn't able to find directly. Now, when I did the Barachain episode or even the Mega ETH episode, the apps were right there. I could click through them super easily. And I just found the HyperEVM. It's a little bit more spread out, but Callum has done a great job at assembling a list. He focuses a lot on airdrop, so if you do want to poke around airdrop opportunities, especially in the HyperEVM, follow CallumOnCrypto. Otherwise, this was just a DM that I got from him, right? Sharing opportunities and insights on airdrops and DeFi, Hyperliquid ecosystem, Maxi DM's always open. So really cool guy. And he says, hey man, hopefully my guide helps you get started on the HyperEVM. Feel free to send me a DM. So, we started talking a little bit. And of course, he links me over here to this tweet that he put out on a variety of HyperEVM projects, none of which I'm familiar with. Now, I'm going to go through a little adventure, take you along with me. I don't know how to fund these wallets, so I am going to be hit with some hiccups. Hyperliquid, you fund through Arbitrum, but their own EVM, I don't even know the process. So I have no assets. I don't have anything to fund it with. We'll just get right into that. Now, let's quickly look. This is how much of an airdrop Keiko Finanace could be. All right, so he's positioning this for like a reason to go there. I'm gonna take a look as to what Keiko Finanace actually is. So Keiko is a permissionless borrowing protocol with dynamic interest rates and liquidation ratios on Hyperliquid. Okay, we're looking at an Aave on Hyperliquid, and I guess this makes sense. Hyperliquid is really perpetual, so it has liquidation built into it to some degree, but you're not doing lending borrowing, right? You're not taking Bitcoin and saying that I want to borrow cash against that. And considering that Hyperliquid actually has Bitcoin on-ramping, this gets pretty interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. So let's just take a quick look at some of their comms. They reached 3 million in TVL, 1 million KEI minted. All right, whatever. TVL is what it is. Borrow against L Hype, choosing your interest rate. I'm just going to go right there. Let's click on it. Let's bang it in there. Let's take it away. All right, so I'm on Keiko Finanace. We have this really simple UX. This is kind of fun. It brings me back to earlier crypto days, but it's already getting a little bit more Web 2 as we get onto this. All right, so we've got Hyperliquid, the L1 token. Per is one of their early meme coins. HLP is actually a vault asset. So you put your stable coins into HLP. It does market making on the Hyperliquid fund itself. HLP was actually what was attacked in the Jelly situation. So HLP was the vault that was left with the toxic debt in the past. HFund token, I don't even know. But so we have some audits just running through here really quickly as I scroll down. We can see that it's audited by both CD Security and Kupia. You can view the audit reports. I'll be honest, I haven't heard of either of these auditing firms. So if I was going to deploy real capital, I might dive into the audit report, maybe run it through ChatGPT and get some conversations on that. The product itself, let's launch the app. Cool, so straight out of the gate, we have a tutorial. I really do like that they have time estimates. In the modern era, is this something we're gonna see across the entire internet? Probably. But 2-minute quick tutorial, comprehensive tutorial. If anyone likes this, go here, check it out yourself. I'm gonna skip tutorial entirely because I just want to bang some buttons. Now, this dashboard already looks quite a bit different from that interface on their website. I guess I will start with a little bit of a question. We have the vaults, we have the audits, but interesting. You can swipe right and left. Great. So Okay, so the home page with this graphic, this is really just a simulator. Basically, we can see that if we deposit Hyper, now this is strange. One thing I've noticed that I don't love is that the Hyperliquid L1 token is actually called Hype, not Hyper. So it's a little strange that they have it just written differently. Can't say that I love that. And the fact that you're borrowing their native asset is a little strange to me. So right out of the gate, I'm going to call these like two red flags. One that I'm slightly less concerned about, but is suspicious enough that it would give me pause with real capital, is the mislabeling of the Hyperliquid token. The second one, and this is more serious, is that if what I'm getting back is this KEI coin, I mean, how do I know there's any value there? So, like, not super enthused, but let's dive in a little bit more. We have vaults. Now, vaults can be really secure. Here we have Hype back to the Hype token, not Hyper. So that's a little more calm. However, what we can see is the vault collateral options. We have Hype, we have Per, we have ETH, we have wrapped staked Hype. So I guess if you stake your Hype into the Hyperliquid staking protocol to get that 2%, that 2 to 3% that they generate, you will be left with a WST. So this one's already a little more interesting to me right out of the gate because you're now compounding your interest. Base fee 4%. Again, these are going to be fees based off people getting liquidated and actually participating a lot in this ecosystem. So I'm just not sure that I want to take my Hype, because Hype is something that I think you could put savings into. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the most bullish assets that I think is out there right now. Now, if you have that, do you want to turn around and increase risk into this protocol? I'm not entirely sure. But we have the optionality. Of course, that's how DeFi works. And the collateral distribution, you can see most of it is in the wrapped stake Hype. I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, you're compounding interest, and your assets are doing maximal work in this sort of world. Stability pool. Just curious what's going on here. Deposit Kai. So the stability pool protects the system by absorbing liquidation debt. Depositors earn liquidation rewards in various collateral assets, plus points that count towards future token allocations. So this could be interesting. One, you're getting rewards in the liquidated assets. I'm not seeing the rewards overview populate itself right now, but that is certainly something of interest, especially if Bitcoin's legitimately in play. Also, if people get liquidated on their Hype, I guess that's pretty cool, and I'd be open to that. Now, here we have their incentive, right? Everything in a DeFi, in a DEX world, revolves around pools, double-sided pools that build the liquidity that would otherwise be central to an exchange, right? Binance has all that money that they use to operate their exchange. So to increase and incentivize that liquidity, you're going to see opportunities around APR. And basically, you're taking on the risk to build the liquidity profile, and they are going to reward you likely with inflation. So the asset that you will be receiving these rewards in is going to be KEI, and we can see that there's decent yield at 20%, but there's other things out there that I think could pull this off. Let me connect a wallet quickly. See if this changes our interface at all. It's taking a long time to load. I'm thinking, I don't know if this is RPC endpoints just being a little mucky. Really, these are the Oracle datas pulling live information from the chain. So my guess is that these vaults are the primary elements. Again, we can do Hype, wrap stake Hype, ETH. Sure, seems interesting. Let's see what redemptions looks like. Bang it down here to points. Points are generally a precursor to an airdrop, so you accrue points by doing actions inside of a protocol or an application, and those points are ultimately what they use to reward for airdrops. This allows protocols to also experiment with their token economics before locking them in, also to look at how they're to get a little bit of history in their early users and how those points distribute, and then ultimately they don't have to commit 1 point to 1 token. They can say, hey, we gave away too many points, let's adjust that when the token goes live. I'm going to sign in here because I don't think it can hurt too much to have connected to anything. Obviously they would like me to contribute something. I don't really know what I have in here. Maybe I have some ETH. And again, I'm having a slow connection. I don't know if this is just my internet or the RPC endpoints. I'm going to guess it's the latter. I think it's the connecting tissue of this application is having trouble pulling that data. But of course, this is affecting my experience. Am I super hyped right now? That's all right. So let's just call it on Keiko Finance. I think it was a cool exploration. And hop back over to Callum's post. He has a little bit of a mathematical breakdown as to why Keiko Finance, if you do want to hop into a little bit more. And maybe he can sell you on it in a way I'm not doing. But I do think the HyperEVM is something that is curiosity warranting and worth a dive. Of course, as we saw with Hyperliquid itself, if you had made any trade on Hyperliquid before they released the token, they gave a 6-figure airdrop. I mean, that is utterly insane. You're talking about people's salaries for pressing a few buttons. So if we can hope that somebody does something as virtuous as Hyperliquid, then so be it. Now, the reason that happened, Hyperliquid did not take VC money. They were able, again, they did not have that debt on their books, so their token was able to perform in a way that got it to this massive airdrop quantity. Okay, let's look at Harmonix Fi, which is swap, stake, earn. I think everyone can use a really simple interface. This is probably going to be a DEX with a swap functionality right out of the gate. That's going to be my guess, where Hyperliquid tries to be like a Binance competitor. I'm going to take a stab that this is just going to be a simple swap mechanic. So they do have their own Hype staking. Again, these apps are actually a pretty good way to increase the validator count on Hyperliquid, which I do think would be very helpful for Hyperliquid in general. You want to know that people running validators have some skin in the game so that they are performant, so that they stay up to date with the network. All of that fun stuff. And if we're going to expand to the application operators, that just seems very reasonable to me. We want to expand validator sets. That is the fundamental thing to increasing decentralization. Okay, so I have a wallet connected here. Again, I'm going to connect my wallet to all these things because this is how you get the airdrop points. Really, you probably have to have some money move through the system. Would be worthwhile to run through everything I'm doing with a couple stables. You could put them in, you could take them out. I don't think it matters too much. They just want that Merkle graph of interactability. Now, same kind of thing we're looking at here. These are vaults. So they do want to build a liquidity base that they can use in the protocol. Basically, what we're looking at here are a variety of stablecoins. We have DAI, Tether, and USDC, Circle. So all of this builds their liquidity base of stablecoins for the protocol to actually be able to act upon. That's where the APY is coming from. And for Harmonix, it's likely going to be through swap fees. So here we are at the very simple swap interface. These are all Hyperliquid, well, we're seeing a lot of meme coins, but you can see that everything happening on the HyperEVM is going to be present here. And as you swap through it, it will take a small fee. We also have staking. So why you would do this here, I'm not entirely sure, but let's see. Commission APR. So this APR at 2.2% is actually very similar to what you'd get through the Hyperliquid interface. Now, one different thing is maybe, I haven't seen KYC AML. So when you go to Hyperliquid, there is a geofence on it. If you're coming from the United States, it says, hey, you can't have access here. However, if you can use this to bridge Ethereum, then if you can bridge Ethereum to the HyperEVM and trade into Hype, this might be a great way for the US citizen to gain Hype. Now, I just realized I'm on HyperCore. I want to be on the HyperEVM. And again, Hyperliquid started out on HyperCore, expanded to the EVM. It's just a step process to launch this broader ecosystem around Hyperliquid, the exchange. Again, that distribution concept that I opened up with. Now, we have staking, we have all of these opportunities, and again, we have a borrow lending platform. So you can see in DeFi the fees coming out of borrowing and lending, which is that you get an APY as a supplier, but if you borrow against that, you have to pay a fee. Now, if you borrow and you get too aggressively if you borrow and you take on too much risk and the prices swing, you could get liquidated. Those liquidated funds will return to the protocol. This is where the APY is coming from, APR, whatever you want to call it. So we have a variety of ways. We have the earn, which seems to be their straight out of the gate vaults, and it's kind of fun to see vaults develop. Again, vaults lead to deeper liquidity. Deeper liquidity on the HyperEVM means deeper liquidity on the DEX exchange itself. So this is how we build a competitor to Binance. It's pretty fun. Okay, so we got earn, we've got stake, we've got swap. Pretty straightforward protocol. Harmonix might be a great way for US citizens to purchase Hype, the asset itself. That would be my takeaway from here. Gonna go back to Callum's post. Let's see what else we have. We have HyperSwap X, do swaps and provide liquidity. Okay, looks to be the same exact thing. Do all your swaps between tokens and chains like Arbitrum. And let's just try Paradex. Now, conversely, over Harmonix, I've gone to Paradex, and boom, we hit access restricted, service access restricted in your region. Please visit the website. So go to terms of services. And due to that, I cannot access it from the US. Of course, there are ways around that if you're so inclined, but my guess is that this is going to be very much another DEX. And what we are seeing here is a variety of swaps, of lending protocols, and basically DEXs that are surrounding the Hyperliquid ecosystem. I do think this is healthy. They each add their own unique parameters. So for example, a DEX on the HyperEVM could maybe take legal risks, right? Like a geofence not existing that maybe Hyperliquid itself does not want to take. So by spreading that out, they can absorb liquidity. Of course, all of these people have their own tokens, their own incentive structures, and that means that risk can be moved off the Hyperliquid primary product. So if people want to go crazy with APR with inflation, again, all of these things absorb liquidity into the ecosystem itself while kind of moving around risk and shuffling it. And maybe they can do things that the Hyperliquid team doesn't want to do themselves. Now, one interesting thing I'm seeing here, ecosystem partners, there's a lot of wallets that connect to this. So this could be an edge in and of itself, which is just that they support more wallets. So if your favorite wallet is here and it's not on Harmonix, this might be a better pathway for you. And maybe that's why they have the geofencing, because they have some very serious wallet connectivity here. And that's something to consider, sure. But these are all fairly the same. Now, when I look back, I see Defi.App. I mean, just launching into it really quickly so that we cover our bases. But what I am seeing from the HyperEVM is just a variety of DEXs. I guess that's not crazy. Hyperliquid itself is a DEX. It wants to expand beyond that. I would like to see some games. I mean, it was really fun in Mega ETH to see a Luma competitor. Luma is what you use to build IRL events and basically send out the tickets and control the flow of people for an actual event. I think that's really funny because Luma is not Web3. It doesn't have NFT collectability. It doesn't have wallet connectivity. It doesn't have the ability to stake. So those kind of out of the box apps are really fascinating to me. Everything on Hyperliquid, Hyperliquid is a DEX first, so I guess it makes sense that they're following on with DEXs. Now, coming to this one, I mean, right out of the gate, it wants my email. I'm just going to log in with X. Everybody already knows me there. It's not much to lose. So interesting that their login straight out is not actually Web3. They're using a Web2 login interface. I think you will see more of this as we do account abstraction and as we can actually create embedded wallets, which means a wallet inside the app that can be hosted from an email address. This is actually more of a multi-sig thing. This means my X account gets one signature to log in. The app itself probably has another and a third that should be recoverable somehow, like a seed phrase, if I choose to write it down. I'm already not loving the login experience. It's very slow. They're asking me for a lot of things. Here's a referral code. If anyone wants my referral code, boom. But, it looks like Callum's already banged in there. So here's one for you, Callum. And that just shows it's a good way to harvest, right? To do these kind of things. And we've got this interface that looks a little bit more traditional, I would say, than some of those other ones. Now, everything seems to be the same. We have trade, earn, perps. I don't know what AI is, so let's dump into that. AI-powered trading. Okay, so this is likely going to be a bot, similar to like a Telegram bot, things of that nature. We have perps, which you could do on Hyperliquid, but again, if you like this interface better, leverage, it doesn't seem to be live. So what does seem to be live right now is just a straight swap. Let's go. Oh, now this is interesting. Okay. We are looking at things beyond the HyperEVM. Maybe they're building the HyperEVM into this product, but for now I see a lot of Solana. I see BNB. So this is really a cross-chain DEX, and that is a standout feature that I'm seeing in this. And, quite frankly, I've already forgot what the name of this product is. So if you guys are looking at this, maybe it'd be worthwhile to actually hit this with a little bit more branding than just this circle in the top left. This is called Defi.App. Well, okay. Well, there you go. It says Defi.App at the top. I guess that's pretty ubiquitous. Again, guys, I didn't know what it was called. It's such an obvious name. It was a little confusing. But look, if we can go from Fartcoin to the HyperEVM, I mean, that's a lot of liquidity flowing through. If I can own Hype and move into Fartcoin when the markets are pumping, this is all a very nice flow of liquidity. So maybe this is an excellent cross-chain DEX to get some exposure to and have a token in. Otherwise, it looks like the HyperEVM ecosystem is all a bunch of DEXs right now. I would love to see people expanding on it. Can we play games that maybe have like a liquidation risk, right? Can I gamble a position in a token on something? I'm seeing like DPIN apps that allow you to stake tokens to unlock your cell phone bill getting paid. Anything beyond just the swapping of coins. I do believe that we have not yet mastered coin swaps. It's why I love the Thorchain protocol, and it's something that's been a problem since the very beginning. So going cross-chain, just swapping assets, always a tough thing to do, let alone being able to cross-chain swap, to be able to stake, to be able to recompound that stake. There's a lot to be built, but this is exciting. We are seeing Hyperliquid as a ecosystem grow. It's expanding obviously into DeFi first, whereas Mega ETH has games, and again, they're trying to show real-time blockchain use where every hop in a Frogger style game could be like a transaction just to show speed, things like that. But we're continuing to expand. We can see that the blockchains themselves are growing into different directions all around. I do think that what will happen is the digitization of everything. We're going to tokenize everything. It's what Base has been talking about. I think it's obvious. Launching a token on Pump.Fun, as you saw, or Radium with my the provider experiment, tokens are basically free to launch. So let's just expect that everything has a token. Now it's going to be about the games and the rules that they put around those tokens as to why you would want to tokenize something, how it can reward you, and what is the competitive functionality for that. So that being said, all of these things are a pretty good airdrop opportunity if that's something that you're keen to dive into. Just follow Callum's X Post. He's done such a good job, and I'll just let him take credit and get those referral codes for everybody here. But I have been talking so much about Hyperliquid. I was curious about the EVM. I couldn't find what apps were actually being built on top of it. So this was a really fun opportunity to dive in and learn a little bit more. I hope you all had fun. I hope that we do get this decoupling happening for real. I do think that the SEC actually moving forward, being able to lay real rules is going to be a big boon, especially if we come out of this chaos, if the tariff stuff starts to settle, if we get some deals with other countries. It looks like India is stepping up to the plate, and hopefully the best is still ahead of us. So with that being said, good luck out there to everyone. Stay safe, and I will see you tomorrow.